So one of the very first things you're going to need to do is thread your bobbin. If you don't have thread on your bobbin, you won't be able to sew anything. The top thread will go down, but it won't hook into anything and your stitching won't work. So take our plate out, flip that down, and on your bobbin you've got this little lever just here. Grab that, lift it out, pull it out, keep your finger on the back as you pull it out. When you take your finger off the back, your bobbin will come out. It may be clear plastic like this one, or it could be a metal bobbin, but they're all pretty much the same. The next part is to put your thread in the bobbin. Your bobbin will have some small holes on the side, and the trick is feed your thread through one of those holes, like so. So you've got a bit of a tail coming out of your bobbin. With your thread threaded through your bobbin, pop your thread on your holder like so. Put your bobbin on your bobbin holder, spring your thread back, and just wrap it around so your thread's out of the hole, and you push your bobbin over into the wind position. Next, you make sure you pull your thread, your hand wheel out so it's in the bobbin feed position, and while holding on to the thread, let the thread go, and with a slight pressure on your foot pedal, it will thread your bobbin. Just keep a nice standard set pressure and just let it work by itself. You'll notice the needle on the machine is not going up and down, so you know that you've got your handle in the right position. The more you press your pedal, the faster it'll go, and if you press it too fast, that's what happens. It pops out. So just keep a nice steady pressure on your machine. When your bobbin gets full, it will press against this little wheel and it'll pop it out, and that's when you know that your bobbin is full. And then you can take your bobbin off and snip your thread, and you now have a full bobbin. We take our bobbin holder and our newly threaded bobbin. What I suggest you do here is that bit of thread that you had coming out of the top of the bobbin that you held onto, get your scissors, snip that off and get that out the way. Okay, so it leaves it nice and clear. We have our thread on the bobbin and we have our bobbin holder. With the pin upright, bobbin with the thread coming off to the right, place it into your holder, and you'll hold your thread like so, and in here you'll notice there is a little spring cover and a little gap. Take your thread, put it into the gap and pull it underneath that spring. You'll hear a very slight click as it goes under the spring, and it comes out in that position there. Now we can put it into the machine. Make sure your pin is upright. Push it onto the center pin, like so. Move it backwards and forwards, left and right a couple of times until it clicks. Then you'll know that it is in the holder. The holder is actually in your bobbin holder. Piece of thread out to one side, make sure that's clear, and you can close that up if you want to. I normally leave it open until I finish the threading process. Our next bit is threading the machine. Throughout this process, and I should have mentioned it earlier, when you're doing your bobbin or when you're doing your thread, make sure your needle is in an upright position, right, just by moving your hand wheel. And you'll tell that by this little arm up here will be at the very top of its movement. Make sure it's at the top of it. We'll grab our thread, place it in the holder, and have the thread coming off in that direction. So it comes off the back of the thread. Okay, next we bring it over and we hook it under the first arm. So it's through there, hooked under the first arm. Then we bring it down, right down to the bottom, till we get to the bottom of this piece here, and then we come back up again. Okay, the little thread's coming up. Next we take the thread and, so you can see, it goes behind that arm. So hook it behind the arm. So it goes around the back of that arm, and then you hold it at the front. So now the thread is going through there, down here, under here, through the back of this arm. We bring it down and to this little thread holder here. Just take your thread and get into this little piece here, which is a little wire loop which holds your thread. That's basically the machine threaded from the top right through your pieces. Next we will put it through the needle. Probably one of the best things you'll ever get is a needle threader. Really handy piece of gear. And how we use this is we push this little wire thread, don't know whether you can see it, but it's a little wire thread, push that through the needle, then we thread the cotton through that, and we can pull it through the needle. So I'll just do that now. Right, that's fed through the needle, so the little wire hook is through the needle. Next we take our thread, working from the back, thread that through the wire, and threader, pull it back through until the thread comes right the way through. Make sure your thread comes out the back of the needle, so it comes out this way, and your needle is now threaded. Now, to thread the top thread with the bottom thread, what we need to do is, using your hand wheel, move the needle down all the way, keep turning it the same way, and then the needle will come back up again. Bring the needle to its top position. Taking a hold of this thread, pulling it gently. What I use is a pair of scissors, the back end of a pair of scissors, slide it underneath, and you'll notice it will pull out the thread. So there we go. What we have got is our thread coming off the needle and our thread coming out of the bobbin. The next bit is make sure your thread from your needle comes underneath your foot. Pull it out to the back and your machine is threaded. Fairly simple, takes a little bit of practice, takes a little bit of finesse, but if you take it easy, take it slow, use a needle threader. The way it happens is quite easy, and after a few times you won't have any problems with it, and it'll be very simple and easy. Just make sure your threads are clear, you've got no tangles down here, no tangles up through here, and you shouldn't have a problem. Close up your bobbin plate, pop your footrest on, and now we are ready to sew. For the next bit we're going to do some basic sewing, very basic. What we're going to do is a simple straight stitch. I'll take a piece of material, doesn't matter what it is, and you place material underneath your foot. Just sitting there, you move your lever down so that your foot is pressing against the material. Always make sure your foot is pressing against the material. I have got the machine set on A, which is a straight stitch, and I'm going to have a fairly long stitch, so I'm going to set the dial to 3. I'll set it to 4, the longest stitch. gently holding the piece of material with the left hand and just with the right hand. No pressure on the material at all, just let the machine do the work. You don't need to push it or pull it, just let the machine do the work. Putting my foot on the pedal, and I'm just going to do a simple straightforward stitch. Now, nothing's happening. What's going wrong? Oh dear, I've broken the machine. It won't work. So we'll go back to what I was saying before about the machine and how to set it up. Remember what I said, if something happens, like the needle doesn't work, you've done something somewhere to stop the needle working. The only thing that stops the needle working is your hand wheel. It was out for your bobbin pressure, bobbin threading. So what we need to do is press it back in. It's something that happens all the time. I did it myself so many times when I was trying to work the machine and thought I'd broken something. It wasn't. Simple. Press your hand wheel back in and make sure it works. Okay, so we're going to go again. Hopefully this time it'll work. And see how it just pulls the material through. Very simple. Using the hand wheel, we'll bring the needle up to the top, bring our foot lever up, and we can drag our piece of material out, and using our scissors we can cut the thread. So there we have a simple straight stitch, top and bottom. If you leave your stitches like that, they won't stay there. They will pull apart and all sorts of funny things will happen and they'll unravel. Okay, so what you need to do, and I'm just going to get rid of these bits of thread so they don't cause any hassle. It's a good thing to remember is always clean your threads up and they won't jam your machine up when you're trying to do things. Alright, now to start, what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a simple hem in the fabric. Right, it's something you'll start off so you've got a nice neat edge to start with. So we put it back underneath our foot, drop our foot down. We're still on A, still on 4, simple straight stitch. Now when we start any stitch, we go a couple of threads forward. Now we hold the lever down, our reverse lever, hold it down and keep holding it. And the needle will go in reverse. And what that does is that locks your stitching, so it's not going to unravel. Then going forward, and when we come to the end we need to lock that stitching again. So you don't need to use your foot pedal to do it, you can use your hand wheel to bring it right to the edge. Okay, then we press down our reverse lever again, holding it down. Come back, let the reverse lever go, and come back another couple of stitches, making sure your needle is up the top. Release your foot, snip it off, and there we have a nice even stitch. And you want to create a zigzag. Remember we look down to here, and C is our zigzag. So we move our dial over to C till it clicks, and we don't want a big long zigzag, I want a sort of medium zigzag. So I'll put it around about 2 and a bit. Put our foot down, and what I'm going to do is zigzag half on that hem and half off. So the needle's going to be right in the middle. And again, a couple of stitches forward, put in reverse, couple of stitches back, and then just let it feed through. Okay, now I've had what's happened. Happens a lot, especially when you use a cheap thread like I'm using here. The thread's just broken and you can see that it's disappeared out of the needle. So bring the foot up, bring this back, and we can see where the thread broke here. Bobbin thread is still there, which usually will stay there. and what we have to do is rethread the machine. And you can see what's caused, you may be able to see what's caused the break in the thread, is the thread has got a little knot in it. It's not actually a knot, it's where this cheaper cotton thread that I'm using doesn't stay together and it bunches up. Once it bunches up, it won't go through the needle and it just breaks the thread. Very, very easy to happen. So we trim that off so it's nice and trim, and I'll just rethread this up quickly. We're rethreaded. We'll do it again. Make a little hem. Pop it in there. So I hope this video has helped. It's, as I say, very basic. You can see I had a few little problems, cheap nasty threads, and it's something that most people will come across and have when they first start sewing. You don't go out and buy the best thread for the job, you don't buy the most expensive thread, and these things happen. And as long as you understand why they happen, it's usually not a problem. So if you have problems, just look, check online. There's some great videos by some really good professional people that will teach you how to set up particular stitches, how to work with patterns, how to fix up broken thread problems and stuff like that. So this is simple, this is basic. It shows you what I use and what you can use to do simple jobs. I really hope this has helped, especially for you, Emily. I hope this will help you out. And we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks, guys.